Wanted to give a quick walkthrough here of my Logitech G920 racing wheel setup that I use for my Xbox One. Seen a lot of guides on there on how to build really cool racing stations with metal pipes and boxes and all that sort of stuff. I found an old IKEA table does the trick, but to each their own. Hopefully this build maybe gives you guys some inspiration on how to set up your own wheel. So let's go ahead and walk through everything for you now. Got a wall-mounted TV here. I did just pick up the cable that goes behind the wall, so hopefully, in the next time I do a video, that'll be gone. I need to just drill a hole in the drywall and feed the wire down. Down here I got all my power. Keep in mind with these wheels, they require external power, your TV requires external power, and your Xbox One console requires external power. So that's what those three connectors are there. This power brick here is to my laptop. It's not part of this build. I took everything the best I could, and I tie wrapped everything as neat as I could up through to the table leg. The black on black helps an awful lot, and I don't know how well this comes out, but I really did spend quite some time with those Velcro strips trying to tighten everything the best I could, such that there was no cables like dangling down that were outside of kind of this bundle, and nothing loose. I guess if you wanted to be creative, if you wanted to hide your cables even more, you could probably cut a small hole in your carpet there and feed it through, and you'd have it come out the other side. I don't know how serious you want to take it. It's just me and my wife that live here. We do have two small dogs, but they don't really mess with this. If anybody does walk by, probably in this layout, they're not going to walk through this conduit, but if they do, at least they'll hopefully see the cables there. And they are tie wrapped enough that I hope it's not a tripping hazard. The back of the console, pretty standard setup. You have your power cable, your HDMI cable out to your television. I have an external hard drive here. You may or may not have one of those. This is the original Xbox One, so the onboard memory wasn't that much. The newer consoles are a lot nicer. The newer consoles also don't have that giant power brick. A lot of it's integrated into the actual hardware. So if you have a newer build, you may not have to worry about that stuff. But you also, the big thing you need here is this bottom USB cable. That is the USB cable that connects through to the back of your steering wheel. And the back of your steering wheel is kind of like the brain hub for the setup. I think that's why it's so big. Obviously it has the motor in there, but that's also where all your connections go to. So you have a power cable which runs from the back of that to the wall, obviously. I got one of those 3M Velcro strips and I snapped it up under the edge of my table, so it's kind of flush and it's kind of out of the way. You may find a better place to do it. The idea here with this build was not to have any cables running from here straight down. I wanted to have the table as functional as possible and as clean as possible. I was trying to go for a clean look, and I think I did the best that I could. So I have both the power cable from the back of the steering wheel and the USB connector running down here, feeding up underneath, kind of wedged in place by this power brick. And then the USB cable goes to the back of the console, and the power cable goes down into the wall. Over here on the wheel, if you buy the base wheel, you will not have this shifter. This was an add-on. You may or may not have this shifter, but it's okay because the shifter does have paddle shifters in the back if you want. Regardless of which wheel you pick, you will always have a clutch. So this setup comes with this wheel and this pedal set. No matter what, clutch or not, you may or may not have the shifter. I like to bolt everything up nice and neat here. I've seen people try to do lap trays with these things. I've seen people come up with different kind of table trays and like metal bars that make like a brace, like a Y that sit on the ground and then they rest on your lap. I like to have everything bolted up nice and solid onto the table because the table's sturdy, but now the wheel is sturdy too because I have it bolted on. It can't move. And let me tell you, this thing kicks. It has some serious force feedback, and if you're trying to simulate something or trying to have that really good experience, you don't want to be holding onto the wheel and then having this base flop all around. So both wheels, both the wheels and the shifters have these two plastic screws in place that bolt down, and they make like a hook that goes up under the table, which I'll show you guys right here. There you can see the hook. Let me get my camera there. You can see the hook that actually comes down and hits up under the table here, and then it rests. So this is locked in place. The other side of the wheel is locked in place. And then over here on the shifter, the same thing. If you do get the optional shifter accessory, there you go, you can see that angle there. There is, just so you know, there is a separate third bar that comes down right under this G logo to pinch onto things. I found that the two in place do a really good job of holding this in place. I haven't had it wiggle at all. But there is a third one. If your table is like mine and you have a lip here, See how my table, let me get my camera here. See how my table eventually comes to a lip. If you have a more flat table, you would be able to use that other shifter accessory. But in my case, my shifter hits against this piece and I can't do that. So be mindful whatever table you guys get that if it's got a big lip on the bottom, you may or may not be able to get the wheel there. So take a look at that before you go with this system. Again, I bought this table at IKEA years ago. We used it for an old dining room table. We've since upgraded to something a little nicer. And I'm just using a standard IKEA chair, nothing fancy here. Everything is tight as much as I can make it. Again, I don't want anything loose. Keep in mind, on the back of the wheel, you're going to have your power connector. You're going to have your USB connector out to the TV. And you're also going to have a connector from the back of the steering wheel down to the pedals, and then potentially a fourth connection from the shifter to the steering wheel. Every connector, or every cable rather, is very tight on here with the exception of this one, this loose cable here. And that is the one that connects down to the pedals. And I kept that loose because I have a lot of friends over, and everybody likes to sit with the pedals at a different, you know, closer or farther. Obviously, you can manipulate the seat, the chair, you could just roll it back and forth, it's just a chair. But some people like the pedals up, down, left, right, whatever. So I purposely left this cable loose. There is enough slack. If you wanted to tie it against here and come down, you could up under the backside. So you'd have like a cable from there to stay there. And the shifter would stay, or the pedals rather, would stay stationary. But I felt in this case to have people over, it was more of a convenience thing. Last thing I'll point out is when you're playing your games, the shifter, or I keep saying the shifter, I'm sorry, the steering wheel, does have all the Xbox One buttons on the front, your up, down, left, right, your ABs, all that stuff. But I find that you actually want to have a regular controller nearby, so keep that in mind. So if you got a regular controller nearby, that's good to have when you kind of start to get into some of the menus. If you're playing with adding or removing the device, or when you're trying to get the Xbox to set it up, it's good to have that just standard control behind it. Anyways, there you guys have it, a quick walkthrough of my racing station setup. Hopefully, again, this inspires you to do something of your own. Do me a favor, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Post links to yours. I'm always looking for new ideas. It's not a very popular industry, unfortunately, because these wheels are expensive. But it is cool, the community that of people that are racing enthusiasts to kind of get together and share ideas. So hopefully this inspires you guys. Like I said, a pretty low budget, but very functional racing build. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Get out there and race your hearts out. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.